Thanks for stopping by Big Top Gaming. My name's Brian.
And I'm Ethan.
And today we got a Brawlmachine battle report between Karchev the Terrible
and Lord Goreshade the Forgiven.
Ghyrrshyld, your real...
Ghyrrshyld, our Lord and Savior.
So for my Karchev list, I decided to put it in Jaws of the Wolf. It just feels like a good theme for him. The Winter Guard one's good for him too, but I just like having a lot of Warjacks, and I feel like it's powerful in Brawlmachine. So I have a Juggernaut and a Devastator in Karchev's battle group, and then I have Sorcerer 0, with a Rager on her. And then for the rest of the list, I have a unit of Widowmakers and a min unit of Mechaniks. Then I'm also bringing a unit of Kayazy Eliminators. You'll notice that I don't have a lot of solos in this main list here, but all those are in the sideboard for the specialists rather for the list. That brings in Manhunter, a Widowmaker Marksman, a Gobber Tinkerer, and something else.
An adjunct.
Oh, a Greylord adjunct. That's right, the important guy. So I'm looking forward to trying this list out. On this scenario, it might not be super powerful, but I've got a bunch of jacks and enough units to score zones, and my sideboard's got a lot of solos, so we should be set up pretty well for a hard-knuckle drag-out fight.
And then I'm playing in Legions of the Dawn. There's a few different themes Goreshade can play into, and I just really wanted to play some Dawnguard models because it's been a long time. So I got Goreshade the Forgiven with a Chimera, Imperatus, one Mechanik, a Ghost Sniper, and then Scythe as my requisition option since she's partisan ret, and a max unit of Destors. So a max unit of Destors runs at 20 points, so that's a huge chunk of my list, but I feel like it's worthwhile with Dauntless Resolve, my feet, and then having a max unit for Ghost Walk. I just wanted to try out the ponies and try and see if they had the volume of attacks to make up for being only like a majority of my list. And my sideboard is kind of like Brian's, a lot of solos, so I got an Artificer, a List Healer, a Sire, and a Soulless Void Tracer. It's all about what I need to swap in to support the Destors. Like if there's a lot of guns, maybe I get in the Artificer. If there's knockdown, I bring in the Healer, and then just kind of play from there and make the Destors as good as I can. So I won the roll to go first and instantly decided to go first because I wanted to get up the board and try and claim as much space as I can because Destors are speed 8, so that's really far up the board. Goreshade goes, he puts Dauntless on the Destors, he Ghost Walks the Destors, and he Ghost Walks Imperatus and then charges one of the jacks he can see between the forest and the rebel. My game plan here is to get my upkeeps out, get my guys up, and I can play a little bit cagey. I can use clouds to my advantage to connect the burning forest and the burning, the forest and the burning forest. And then here, I believe
we had to pause it for my stupid forest. This is the worst theme benefit in the universe. I guess there's worse ones, but I hate these stupid forests. Not only do I forget them every time, but they really screw with your list. Yeah. So we paused the clock for me to put down my stupid forests.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't change my deployment at all. Because his jacks get Pathfinder, but they can't see through the woods.
Sure
so
can't.
It kind of just helps me. And I know he's got the Widowmakers down there, but with the Destors being 5 wounds each, they can't just one round a Destor. Imperatus runs up. Brian's nice enough to let me do my Apparition move with the Chimera because I forgot I had Apparition. It has been a hot minute since I played Retribution. I think this is the first time we have Ret on the channel. Yeah, it's been at least 2 years.
Yeah.
No longer, because I played them before I went on my Minions kick, and that was 2018.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So I'm not 100% sure how I'm really going to unpack here. I think that mostly I want to try and hold up these Widowmakers to just be able to stay in my zone if the Mechaniks need to go elsewhere, because they're not really going to be doing a ton of work. They're going to be chipping in damage on the Destors, which is what they're doing right now, but I don't have enough Widowmakers to drop a horse, and if I could do that, then they'd be really good for it. But right now, they just, with Dauntless on them, sure, they're shooting POW 21 guns, right, with no dice roll.
Yeah, but you missed a couple, too.
Exactly, I missed a couple of them, so they're just not, I don't feel like they're going to get their work done on this one, other than just being higher defense pieces that can contest. So next up, I don't think I put out a couple boundless charges this time. I think I'm just kind of running things around. I feel like when I first deployed here that I maybe confused my deployment and how I wanted to do things. But Sorshad is being the only one who can score the flag unless Karchev wants to stay in a pit all day. She ends up running into the rubble and not quite getting to the flag, but she's in position to get to it next turn and can boundless where she needs to. Otherwise, Kayazy are just running body blockers, and that's that.
So going into this turn, I don't think the Kayazy are going to be close enough to contest my flag, because I can't really get any charges on them. So I'm going to try and play this turn a little bit cagey, make him come to me, because I claimed so much board space he had to respect my threats. But I can get into his zone, I can put a cloud or two between my two obstructions or line of sight blocking terrain, and I'm just trying to measure Scythe's threat if she can walk and shoot some jacks. So I do my apparition move, which brings me within 8 of the Devastator, I believe.
Yeah, the Devastator.
Yeah,
no, the Devastator's off in the corner. You're across from a Juggernaut.
Oh, yep.
I crossed the streams.
Oh, yep, you crossed it for this one. So I'm just trying to measure, make sure I'm in threat for Hand of Ice, because that's my -2 armor debuff.
Yeah, Goreshade has a lot of unique spells. I didn't really think about it until recently, but I think he's got at least 2 or 3 spells that are uniquely his.
Yep, because his unique spells are Hand of Ice and Light of Wrath, I believe. So I got Hand of Ice up, so now the Juggernaut's -2 armor, and then I put 2 clouds in front of me. That way, if he wants to come into the Chimera, he's going to be -2 the hit, and he would have to trample. So I'm just playing it like defensively. I'm being reactive instead of leveraging my turn 1 and being like jam up the board, because I just wanted to try and see and use this first game as a test run to see how things went. Their Scythe shot the Juggernaut, and then I was like, oh yeah, that Rager with his little dagger is a shield guard, so there goes multi-fire because he's outside too.
Yep, finally I get to screw over multi-fire.
And then I actually roll really well, so I think I do 5 to the 2.
Yeah, it's really well for anything but an arm 20 heavy.
Yep. So I did not ghost walk the Destors because I needed to put up Hand of Ice and the 2 clouds, because I think Goreshade's really powerful here. It's just there's so many options he has to do, and like upkeeping my one spell, I had to mitigate what I could do. So I couldn't get all of them to charge into the Widowmakers over the wall, so I only get 2 charges. But I'm just going to try and hope I can hit the boosted Calv shot over the wall, and the rest are kind of just running. So the first one misses with a lot, and then his dual attack shot, he tries to shoot over the wall. Almost hits, but he needed boxcars because he's rat 6 and you're 18.
Defense 18 over the wall, yep.
So the next one, the charge actually hits, POW 14. He tries to shoot. The next one misses. And then that's all my attacks. So now I'm just repoing to dig deeper into his zone. And I'm trying to like hide behind that forest. And I'm contesting his zone. And those back ones shouldn't have been able to repo. I just realized that because they were.
Yeah, I saw you touch them.
I know, I poked them.
I know. We're the worst Warmachine players.
Yeah, we are. Arcanist runs to the flag, which I think is dangerous because I don't know if a Widowmaker can get a line around him, but we'll see.
So I've got a lot to unpack here in terms of just trying to get... I think like putting my Devastator on the bottom side of the zone, I'm not sure this was the greatest idea in the universe. I think the Devastator is a really hard question for my opponents. Like, not everyone in Brawlmachine can deal with an arm 23 heavy. But the downside is that there's not a whole lot that he gets to deal with because he's only Mat 6, Speed 4, and POW 16. So in Khador terms, he's kind of pillow-fisted and he's not hitting quite accurately. So he's just kind of like trundling around, and crossing him over to this side of the table just doesn't feel like it was probably the best use for him. So I think I'm trying to figure out how exactly it is that I need to deal with everything, because I don't have any eyeless sight in here to see through those clouds. And now we're trying to figure out, can my Kayazy Eliminator charge one of these guys? And that stupid forest comes to bite me. And I should just put these in places where they literally don't matter so I don't have to deal with this. But I appreciate the flag forest. Like, that's cool. And if it weren't for the rubble that was there, it would be beneficial. But like, the forests are stupid. I hate themes that bring terrain that messes with the things you can do. Like the clouds for Dark Host, the forests for this one.
I mean, the clouds for Dark Host, like,
they give you prowl, sure, right, but you can't charge through them because you can't see through it with anything. Like, I just don't appreciate them as much as, maybe someone can tell me I'm wrong and just like the worst, but I hate terrain that you place down as part of your theme that actively your opponent can leverage to damage you.
Especially when you don't have things like, most of your list doesn't have Pathfinder and you can't see through the forest. Like last time I played in the Jaws, I was playing Tharn and my opponent put their forest 20 inches up because that's the max, right?
Yep.
And I was like, "Are you sure you want to do that?" He's like, "Why?" I'm like, "I'm playing Tharn. Like, I'm in that forest turn 2 for Tree Walker."
Exactly. Yeah. I hate these things so much. Like, it's just a pain in the butt. So enough of me complaining about terrain theme benefits. Also, I think Jaws should just have a different benefit. Not just because I hate the forest, but like, really, whatever. I'm not going to talk about it.
Pathfinder's a good benefit for you, Jax.
No, it's super great. And it would be even better if one of the casters that plays in the theme the most, one of his big things is that he gives them Pathfinder, you know? But whatever.
I mean, it's like the Dawnguard theme. Vyros, the Dawnguard caster's feat gives flank to his battle group, but the theme gives flank to Jack Marshall Jax.
Yep. So finally, after you get to listen to me complain about things that probably don't matter, I just decide to run the Eliminators. One of them staying outside of any engagement ranges, but the other one just goes there to kind of like trip these guys up a little bit. And I decide to... this is another, like, the stupid forest. I'm trying to get a spray onto this Destor because I'm like, I can at least, influence this a little bit and get one of them down. Like, Ethan's feet's not up, so not that the ranged attack would do anything, but I'm just like, I want to take some of these Destors out because if they're allowed to live to next turn, it's going to be weird for me. So I'm like, I can't even shoot the thing because I can't get around the forest that I have put down. So I know that I'm actively the one who's damaging myself here with this placement. Like, maybe I didn't think about it enough, but I can't do much of anything with Karchev here. So he just trundles up and is just like, I'm a big guy with a ton of boxes, so deal with it. And the next thing is the Juggernaut decides to trample up into the Chimera. Doesn't really do anything. I think I missed one of these attacks.
Yeah, because he needed 7s.
Yeah, with Hand of Ice, it drops my map.
The freezing mist in front of you. Gives
Sorry.
You 2 to
Yeah.
hit.
And the Devastator just kind of crosses back over the other way, so it's in an awkward spot. But Sorsha's on the flag, scoring it, and the Rager's in front of her, so I'm in as good of a position as I can be.
So we both scored 1. He was able to get that Juggernaut into my zone, which I figured he'd throw something into me, but... like, that's to be expected. He doesn't have a whole bunch of throwaway models on that side of the board. So I apparate backwards just to get out of melee with it. I end up upkeeping Dauntless. I upkeep Hand of Ice. So I'm going to be sitting on 5. And then I'm just pre-measuring Scythe if she can aim, because she has Tree Walker, and Hunter. So she can shoot Sorsha, but Sorsha is within shield guard range of the Rager. But I believe you are within 2 of the Rager, because the Rager tried to stay within 3 of the Juggernaut, of the Devastator, and of Sorsha. So like, it's weird trying to protect everything from Scythe shooting, that I think Sorsha got a little bit too close.
Yeah, it was more so that the Rager just couldn't get up any farther, and I just wasn't being... I stopped multi-fire once and should have been really like clever and tried to stop it again, but in order to get her on I had to make a choice, get her on the flag or take multi-fire shots, and I decided I'm just going to try and go for the point.
Yep. So this is I'm going to try and push the scenario this turn because we tied last turn 1-1, but now I have a chance to clear my zone first. And I'm going to try and feat, and there you see I allocated 2 to Imperatus, so I'm going to try and do everything, but it's me planning out Scythe's activation. So Scythe aims, shoots the Juggernaut, and then he opts to shield guard it to the Rager. I do decent damage, and now I multi-fire into Sorsha. I wish I'd rolled this a little bit closer, but I do hit, and then after focus I do 2. The third shot hits Sorsha, leaves her on 1, and then the final shot, aiming to rat 10, hits the 5, and then I drop her. So now he's got no solo on his flag, the Rager has gone inert, and Scythe can run and gun back to the flag, so that way the Arcanist can walk over and concentrated power. And if you've noticed my list when I originally said it, I did not deploy a Ghost Sniper because I forgot he was in the list.
I think it was because you put Ghost Snipers out of your head because you couldn't get 2 of them for a requisition in Legion. So you're like, oh, Ghost Sniper isn't here because if I had a Ghost Sniper, it would be 2 of them.
Well, you can in Legion, but you can't in Brawlmachine.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
So that's unfortunate, but I'm doing work without it. It would just be another like 3 to 6 to 9 shots or damage depending on how many shots it gets into a Jack. So Imperatus is going with Concentrated Power, Hand of Ice, so he's effectively dice +1.
Yep.
Because for 20 points, Imperatus is a little pillow-fisted at POW 17, so he needs all the help he can get. But he makes up for it with Phoenix Protocol and a few other stuff. So I end up leaving him on 3 after a full focus stack of walking.
That's where that Ghost Sniper would really help.
Yeah, no. So I end up, I'm trying to measure a charge with the Chimera, but then I realize I don't need to, because I'm like, wait, I have a focus. Why not just walk and boost? Because that's literally the same thing. So like this takes me a minute to realize that charging and walking do the same if you're boosting.
Yeah, I think you were just trying to line it up so you didn't get like clipping. You want to make sure you weren't clipping bases or had a good landing spot, and then it's like, I'll just walk and boost, whatever.
Yep. So I combo strike. So I go up to a POW 16, and he's armor 18 thanks to Hand of Ice.
Yep, so there's a chance I walk away from this, but not a good one.
No.
And that good one chance is not... it didn't work.
And I was trying to keep him back so I could put up another cloud in front of them. So the Destors are going. They're just walking to get behind the wall. I'm not going into the rear arcs. Why didn't I just walk into their rear arcs? Because, like, your free strikes wouldn't even hurt me.
It would be pretty abysmal. If they spike, maybe they're like POW 8.
So I took a free strike from this Kayazy because I'm like, oh, I don't care. And then I ended up just not even taking free strikes from them.
Yeah.
I think I just assumed now without the wall I'll hit them. But I still need 7s. So, like, it probably would have been smarter just to walk around. So now I'm starting attacks. Missing the Kayazy with that front one. Now the one that walked into its butt hits. POW 14 or POW 12 with the lance. Or not the lance, the mount. Since they walked, they can make their mount attacks because they have the lance rule, unfortunately. Because just the lance rule.
That's another rule I could talk about forever. I hate that rule.
Yeah, I think everybody who's ever played with the lance despises that rule, but it's here to stay. PP has said it, so I'm not even going to bitch about it because I could go all day. So I'm just repoing back. I'm being super cagey because I'm going to try Goreshade. There you see I'm measuring how far he can go to feet. But I'm scared of like a trample move onto me because his Jack's a Pathfinder. So I need to stay in the zone so I can't go as far as I'd like because the Destors are my only unit and they're across the entire board from my zone. So I feat, and then I'm debating putting up a cloud in front of me just to stop if he tramples. If he gets a Road to War move, he tramples, he can get onto me with a bot attack because he can't see through the woods even with a Road to War move. But I'm camping 1, so I'm def 15. He's mat 6. So I'm thinking, like, I'm okay. And I feel like I need to protect Imperatus because I just want to keep pressing my advantage. But I think protecting Goreshade might have been important because I think I underestimate how good Imperatus' survivability is because Phoenix Protocol is always negated by no healing.
All right, I've got. I lost my Juggernaut. I understood that was going to happen, but I was hoping to get the Chimera while I was at it. If I would have gotten the Chimera, then maybe the Juggernaut still be alive. But now I've just got to work with what I've got here and try to just not lose. So Karchev, I think I probably missed, I think almost this whole time he's had up Road to War.
He
Or
cycled
battle charge first and then Road to War.
last turn he cycled Road to War.
Yep.
So I didn't have to worry about counter charges this turn.
So it's always weird trying to figure out what to do with Karchev, and I think that Road to War is cool in this matchup, but it's not great because like there's not a whole lot that I can get good Road to War triggers off of, or there's so little for me to move that Road to War is not a big deal. I don't have a massive battle group, right? I mean, I've just got Karchev bringing another body. But I decide to unpack him into these Destors over here because even if I do get stationaried, there's a good chance that these Destors aren't going to kill me, and I know that I can flatline one of them. So that's what I opt to do here. And next up, that triggers my Road to War, and I've got to the point where like I can kind of see what's going on here, and I think the only out I have is just getting ridiculously lucky on Goreshade. So I opt to... I've loaded up my Devastator and choose to trample him into Goreshade. And I eat the free strike from Imperatus, but double ones means I'm good. I'm still armor 23 with that free strike, so I'm not worried about what Imperatus could do to me. I think that it's very unlikely he can cripple anything on me. So I buy an attack, and I think I decided to boost this because I'm like, I'm at 6. I need 9s to hit you.
Yeah,
like,
you did feat with Karchev so it's like
Yeah.
boosted damage.
So I think when we all was said and done after focus, you took 5 damage from that or something. It wasn't a big number, but this is kind of just where I'm at for the turn.
So Brian's assassination failed, but he was able to contest my flag because on my turn I went up 3-1. And he has no solo on his flag, so I'm still at 3-1, so I just need to score 2 points to win.
Yep.
So I'm a Kayazy and a full health Devastator away from being able to do this. So I allocate 2. I move over to get within 5 of the Kayazy. I drop Dauntless this turn because I don't care. I had a soul from the one that Karchev killed, so I punch the Devastator. So I stationary him because that's what Goreshade's sword does. I boost damage after...
Yeah, I've opened up and I don't have the armor debuff on me, so I'm arm 19, so that would be off 5. It would have done like 3 damage.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, actually... No, I think I put up Hand of Ice on you.
Gotcha.
And then I boosted the
you put up
Wrath
Hand of
Light.
Ice because you're... Yeah, I know what you're planning.
Yep. So... I did this out of order. I Hand of Iced, boosted a Wrath of Light, and then I believe this is Imperatus just smacking you. What was it?
I think you were just syncing attacks from Goreshade in there or something.
Yeah.
Must have been. So now you've got Imperatus going into me, and
Scythe was shooting you because I stationary you.
Gotcha. Yeah, so you could shoot.
Yep.
So now that Devastator's gone. Super bummer.
Yep. And then we just re-rack.
Yeah, so for my sideboard this time around, I am pulling out the Widowmaker Marksman, or not Widowmaker Marksman, I'm pulling out the Widowmakers, and I'm bringing in the Grey Lord Adjunct, and then I'm also bringing in the Widowmaker Marksman. So this gives me 2 solos. One of them is Stealth and Pathfinder, so he can sit on that flag really well, and still affect the game all right with having the Deadly Shot Sniper, and that the Grey Lord Adjunct is going to give Karchev just a little bit more focus efficiency, but the real gain here is that I get Guidance.
Yeah, Guidance is pretty big.
How were you sideboarding for this time around?
So I thought things went pretty well, and I opted not to sideboard anything because, like, Scythe, she did a lot of work that game, even with the Rager, because, like, that last turn, like, she was pumping damage into that Devastator. With Hand of Ice, she was dice minus 11 Weapon Master, but like she was still just like cranking it out. And like if I'd remembered the Ghost Sniper was in the list, I probably would have swapped him out, but I just kept things as they are.
So I've opted to go first this time, and Ethan's sticking on his side. He pretty much is fine with the way things are. You'll notice that I doubled up my force on that flag just to get the other stupid ring out of there. And it's worth noting these are supposed to be AoE 5s. Like I didn't put down 5s, I put down 4s for whatever reason.
It would have been even worse for you.
Yeah, even worse. But I'm fine with the force on the flag. Even though I've got the rubble there, it's not a huge deal to me. It's just extra real estate in case somebody wants to get on it, or not be on the flag but not in the rubble for whatever reason, because I would just be lapsed in intelligence for a minute. So this time, with me having turn 1, I can be really aggressive with things. So Sorsha decides to go first and boundless charge both Karchev not Karchev. I think she boundless charged the Devastator and the Rager. So they could charge up, and then the Rager got chunked up behind some things because that's the foresight I've got here.
Or no, she boundless charged the Juggernaut. Yeah, because he just charged 9.
Sure.
So my bottom 1, the deployment is exactly the same as last time because I feel like things went pretty well. But now I'm going to try and be super cheeky. So there I'm measuring out 14 inches on if the Chimera can apparate, run, and get within Wrath of Light range of Sorsha, because it's a range 8 nuke. I can't, but I can get within 8 inches of Karchev, who is right next to her, and she's camping 0 because she double boundless charged. So it's a POW 13, so blast damage is POW 7. So, and she's armor 14, so a boosted dice minus 7. If I roll a 12, I can bottom of 1 Sorsha, and I end up deciding to go for it. This is really risky. If this fails, I'm basically giving up my arc node for nothing, and then I'm just kind of wasting a lot of my clock and also not getting all of the spells I want to get out. So I'm going to have to get away without... So there I measured to see if I could get Hand of Ice out on the Devastator. He is just out. I can only get 8 to Karchev. So that's what I end up doing. So I'm out of charge threats without Boundless of the Devastator at least. But I would have really liked to be able to get Hand of Ice if I'm throwing away my Chimera super soon.
Yeah, because if you don't get it out now, it's going to be like turn 3 because it'll just be everything will be so far back.
So I hit, do no damage to Karchev, boost, and I leave her on 2.
Yep, so she's fine. I luck sacked out of that one, so I didn't realize that that is nuke wasn't AoE, so had I realized that, I probably wouldn't have left Sorsha within blast damage range, but I at least would rather be lucky than good, I guess.
Yeah, I kind of wished... Silas isn't in this theme, and Scythe takes up my Merc option, so I think Goreshade really likes Silas, but he's just not an option in this theme if you want to play with Scythe, and Scythe is just really good.
She's, for requisitions, she's really nasty.
Yeah.
So I think you're just trying to prepare for the next turn with these Dawnguard. Like, you weren't able to get Ghost Walk on them, which is another problem of unpacking that high risk pull on Sorsha, is that now your Dawnguard can't affect the board the way you want them to.
Yeah, that was the risk I took. It was a calculated risk, but man, am I bad at math. So I just move up, waiting for next turn. Scythe is hiding, so no line of sight from a Kayazy, so it can't boundless charge and then charge me. And then Arcanist is just staying back.
I'm feeling pretty good about the way that turn 1 shook out. Like, I definitely, like I said, got lucky, and Sorsha gets to stick around. And she's an important part to this list because my army is so static with threat ranges. And in a bigger Karchev game, that's usually not a big deal because you can get Road to War to do a lot for you. But with Ethan's list being so condensed into that Destor unit, there's not a lot I can do to trigger these Road to Wars, and I can't start snowballing the Road to Wars across my whole battle group to basically just kind of give them a pseudo boundless charge. So having the few boundless or the few Road to War triggers that I can have up and at 'em stacked with boundless charge seems to make it more impactful. It means that Ethan's got to respect my my threat ranges a lot more.
Yeah, because +5 threat on a speed 4 jack is pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's nice. So now I'm trying to figure out what it is exactly that I want to try and get onto this Chimera because I need to get something there. The Devastator can't quite unpack into it unless it gets Boundless charged. Because it's outside of 8, I was like, do I even need Boundless Charge to get there? Not that it's a bad deal because it's a free focus for them. And you'll notice a big difference for my deployment this time is I've put the Juggernaut in that circle zone because I figured that's where the Dawnguard are going to come at me from. So having him down there is a little bit more beneficial than having the Devastator up top. Plus the Devastator ended up being a good contesting piece, so it's just good business to put him into that zone to make Ethan try and deal with him. I decided to get Karchev to go next. I don't think anyone else is gone. I think I was just kind of mapping things out. I decided to put up Road to War now since I ran turn 1, and I think I tried to launch...
You tried to spray my Chimera.
Yep, and I didn't need to put the spray template down, and I ended up missing because Karchev is only Rat 5, so I just didn't quite get there, and I wasn't super comfortable using my last focus to boost that attack roll. I was kind of hoping that I could save it for damage and just make it so that the Devastator has less work to do once he goes in. So now we've got Boundless Charge up on the Devastator, and I bulldoze back into Ethan's zone, which I don't think he expected at first.
And like if you hadn't Boundless, you wouldn't have had the distance to get into my zone. So I think that was really clutch that you did it.
So it was a big deal there. Even though it means that the Devastator is going to go open right now and be a little bit easier to kill. The first couple attacks that I make don't even connect. So I rolled I think I rolled a 3 and a 4 to hit. It just wasn't great. But I ended up getting enough of these attacks to connect to kill him. Or maybe it was just in my initials I got him. I can't quite remember.
No, you used all the focus you had on you.
So that was decent. So now I'm settling up my Rager to be in place to make sure that Scythe is less effective. Like now, since with a smaller footprint, it's easier for me to just kind of deny the multi-fires if Scythe decides to go for any of my big targets. And the Eliminators then decide to charge up into these Destors. I want to try and get one of them right now. If I can get one without Ethan's feet up, then that's really good for me. I tried to get Screwbally here and throw a Kayazy in between the two because they have acrobatics, but the river or the water is what was screwing me over there, so I couldn't get Pathfinder through that. So they're just both going into the same one. And that's lucky enough for me because it takes 2 of them to get this guy down. The first one doesn't quite crack. Well, it does a couple damage, but doesn't kill. And then the second one does. And I didn't sidestep with the first one, which would probably be a good idea. But I sidestep with the second to get back into engagement so that a Scythe can't just pluck her off for nothing. And I probably should have also turned her around so she wasn't, facing a weird way.
So it's my bottom of 2. Pretty contested. I don't think I can get to the Widowmaker on the flag, so I'm in kind of a rough spot. I'm planning out my focus. I need to hand device the Devastator. I'm trying to see how far I would have to get up to drift a Wrath of Light onto the Widowmaker, and I immediately abandoned that plan. And then I'm also thinking about ghost walking the Destors so they can walk into the rear arc, or walk through that pond easier to get into the rear arc and then get into the zone. But there's just a lot I need to do this turn and not a lot of focus because I upkeep Dauntless Resolve and I need 2 for Hand of Ice, and then just trying to wait and see what I'm doing.
I think right now is where you're trying to figure out what spells need to go where. Like you've said it earlier, Goreshade wants to do a lot, so you're just having a little bit of a analysis freeze, figuring out what you need to get where because there's just so many things, and I think you're running out of resources to do it.
Yep, because I don't trust Destors to hit Kayazy without the charge bonus because Kayazy would have 17 with Duelist, so I need 10s. Unboosted 10s are pretty rough, and then even getting in the rear arc, unboosted 8s. So I concentrated power, and as you can tell, Goreshade still has 6 focus. So I never allocated to Imperatus because I got wrapped up in all the things Goreshade needed to do that I didn't even think about giving Imperatus focus. So there I'm measuring if I can charge the Juggernaut and then impact attack on my way in and maybe clear, but then I'm like, wait, my impact attacks aren't boosted. I need an unboosted 10, and if I don't make the charge, I fail and I'm stuck there and I can't get into your zone. So I know I eventually abandoned this plan because it's a bad plan, But Kayazy getting into me and jamming me are really rough and hard for me to get out and then actually get up the board. So I'm just trying to maximize because I need to get in his zone, I need to feat, and I need to do work. And I believe there's Goreshade, Hand of Ices.
Yeah, because you need that now since you're...
Yep.
I don't think you realized in the game yet that you didn't allocate to Imperatus yet, but you definitely need that to kill him.
Yep, because I am now measuring getting within stealth range for Wrath of Light. And then I realize if I do that, I'm walking out of the zone. So I actually won't be scoring the zone. So I can't, like, that's not a great time. That's why I have 4 left.
Yeah, this is where you feel the burn a little bit of only having one big unit that you can't, like, broadcast your scoring capability across the table. You get a lot of output, but you're just giving up on flexibility.
Yep, so there I end up ghost walking the Calv, and then I put a cloud down, so that way he's in the cloud so I can see him, and then Imperatus can punch into the cloud and stay behind it. And I believe when I put down, it's going to be pretty soon when I realize Imperatus doesn't have focus. So with the ghost walk, I'm able to walk 8. I'm just walking behind them, getting 1 in the zone for now. I was hoping to maybe shoot a Mechanik, and then with Ghost Walk, I can walk fully around and through the pond. I can't get into the rear arc of that one just based on the way he's facing, but I got rear arcs in most of them, and then I'm in the zone. So in the butt, I only need 8s to hit with melee and 7 for guns because Duelist doesn't work against guns. So I'm just going through. It takes quite a few attacks. I believe it takes 3 Destors with all their attacks just to kill them.
Yep, but you do get a lot of attacks out of this unit, so that's where their cost is kind of being shored up above any other cavalry that you might be bringing in in Brawlmachine, because like they just have a ton of attacks.
Yep, and there I'm repoing forward, and then I'm repoing the leader back and just hugging over. And I believe I eventually remeasure my feats, and then Brian's nice enough to let me repo to stay in the feat because that was my intent. I just literally didn't even think about. I thought my control yard went farther, but I forgot how far I ran away Goreshade on 0 camp because I was really scared. I gave him a chance last game. I wasn't going to give him another Hail Mary on me.
Yep. This is just a really thick turn for you. There's a lot going on and a lot you need to respond to because you have one heavy that you couldn't do anything to. You've got another heavy that I think by now you've noticed that you don't have focus. Yeah.
Yep. So Scythe is going and multi-firing through the Mechaniks with Treewalker. So she's able to just to go through and she gets the adjunct and then she runs the guns back to the flag. And then this is where I activate Imperatus and I was like, I never gave him focus.
I think you were about to flip the clock over to me because you were like, I forgot to activate Imperatus. And then you were like, I also forgot to allocate to you. You're like, oh no, this is so bad.
Yeah, it's like, oh boy, can my POW 19 heavy kill an ARM 21 dude with 3 attacks? And the answer may surprise you. He tries his best. He does.
You do a lot of damage to him, but I'm still left on like 10 boxes or something. Like I'm still pretty healthy here.
Yeah, like if that cloud hadn't been there and I just gave Imperatus 2 focus, that'd been nice.
I'm feeling pretty spiffy right now because a mistake means I get to stay in this game a little bit longer, which is always unfortunate to see happen. But Ethan just had a lot to unpack, so going through the math of what to do with the spells, just completely forgetting about trying to allocate to the heavy. It happens.
Yeah.
Especially since this is the first time you played Ret in 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, I was really big on them in the beginning of Mark III pre-Theme Machine. Like, man, Ossian was so fun.
And fun.
Yeah. Kalista was fun. I remember like Helena was in my pair for the longest time. That was pre-nerf Kayn.
Helena was I still think Helena's always going to be a good caster.
Oh, she's super fun. She was my anti-Kayn 2 tech.
So I think right now I've decided to not do anything with the Devastator other than just like be an ARM 23 guy bulldozing deeper into the zone. Getting deeper in here just means that I'm kind of moving the line of engagement, so that means that Ethan won't be able... I can kind of stay in the back area. Like, that flag is mine for the rest of this game, pretty sure. So I think it's worth noting that I went up 1 point and you went up 1 point last turn, so we're even right now.
Yep.
I might have scored some points otherwise in other places too, but the other thing that I'm noticing is Ethan's clock is not in the greatest shape either. For me, going first and still having 12 minutes to his 8 feels really nice, and leveraging clock in Brawlmachine is weird, especially if you're playing with 35 minutes. But with 25, I think you can actually get some work done. So to go with the bottom zone, the Juggernaut took out one of the Destors, and then Karchev decides to get fancy, and we walk over with our turbine up to give us the extra speed boost, and I'm deciding to use the Juggernaut as a Fisher node, and I'm just choosing him as the target for the spray, and the way that all the Destors are lined up means that if I hit all of them, they all get knocked down. Whereas if I wasn't doing that, if I wasn't targeting the Juggernaut, I wouldn't be able to do this, and I have Jumpstart in my back pocket, so even though my Jack's stationary and knocked down, I don't care. I end up knocking down the 2 Destors in the back, but I don't get the one that's in the zone, and that's the one I was kind of saving focus for to boost damage rolls against. So it's really unfortunate that I didn't quite connect with that one, and I think I boosted all of the hits on these to make sure that I got it, but it just didn't work out.
Yeah, you needed boosted 8s.
Yep, I really wanted to clear my zone so that I could start scoring it, but I don't have a whole lot of pieces over here that can do that for me anymore. So Sorsha is now getting a little bit more brave. Especially since the Rager is still up and at him, it means I can shield guard and not worry about this multi-fire stuff. But other than that, I think I'm pretty well set for the turn, and just gonna see if how Ethan responds to what I've given to him.
Yep. So luckily that Destor's still in the zone. I got 1 soul from the Juggernaut killing, so I go up to 8. Upkeep Hand of Ice, upkeep Dauntless, I believe, or yeah. So, and now I remember to allocate 2. So I have a game plan this turn. The game plan, I can't see the Rager, but if I Ghost Walk Imperatus, he walks and he gets 2 sidesteps, he can get to Sorsha with 3 focus, and I think I can put her in the dirt. It's just getting there. So Vyros is going to charge. I'm hoping... I know Vyros.
You did it again.
I know. I called him Vyros during our game, even when I declared the charge. Goreshade, our Lord and Savior, is charging forward. He's POW 15. He's dice off 6. As you can see, he's only got like 9 boxes left. So I charge. Dice off 6. I do 3. So now he's down to 6. I buy. I auto-hit 'cause he's stationary. I boost damage. I leave him on 1. And then I make a terrible mistake, and I buy an attack. And then I boost damage.
Yeah, because you were like, you needed to roll a 7 to kill.
Well, as soon as I bought the attack, I can't Ghost Walk anymore.
Yep.
So now I can't get to Sorsha. Like, he's on 1 box. I should have just trusted Scythe to try and, with 4 shots, at least spike one of them at dice minus 11. Because now if you don't know, the Clamjacks, when their arms are crippled, don't lose the bonus armor anymore.
Yeah, they only lose it when they make a non-slam, trample, or a headbutt attack.
Yeah, it's real annoying opening up a Clamjack. So now I'm wasting my clock lamenting about how I screwed up and trying to
figure out what you're gonna do in response. Right?
Yeah, because I'm like, if I can walk 2 to the woods, can I get reach to the Rager at least and maybe cripple him, maybe kill him? That way Scythe can shoot Sorsha. And like, I'm just going back and forth on this turn because like I made sure the fully load Imperatus, but now like there's nothing I can do with him, and I'm gonna be just like a half an inch out without Ghost Walk because I'm going half speed through those woods. So like 2 to the woods, I got 2 1/4 left or 2 1/2 left, or no, I got 2 left because I'm speed 6, so I can't get there. So Imperatus walks up. I had hoped I could get there, sidestep to Sorsha, and be contesting the flag. That was the master plan this turn. But I walk up, get my 10, boost the hit. I actually hit Sorsha under Fog of War.
Yeah, and defense 17 with that.
I'm at 6, so I just needed an 11, but I rolled a 12. And Brian is opting to shield guard or not, doing the math. Scythe, I believe, is out.
I think I decided to shield guard because no matter what, with focus, I think the boosts are enough to just kill me.
Because you're on 2 boxes.
Yeah. So I the Rager doesn't take any damage though, so there's that. But now it just means that Scythe is going to be able to get her pretty easily unless
and Scythe couldn't aim.
Yeah.
So she had to walk to the flag. So she needs a 7 because she has Hunter, rolls a 6. So multi-fire doesn't go off.
So I get lucky again.
So now I'm running out of attacks. I'm down to just my Destors.
And down to just 3, so...
Yep, so that's really not good. But now I believe we're going to start... I decide to sack my movements with the back Destors because they have dual attacks, so I can at least still shoot my guns and be cute and repo into the zone. So there we're trying to see if I have a line over the knockdown stationary Juggernaut around the woods to Sorsha for this dude to aim and shoot, because since he's knocked down and stationary, he's not engaging and I can see over him. We decide there is just a line. I aim to rat 8, so I need a big number to hit, and I roll a 10.
Yep, so now I just gotta hope that I can shake focus through this, and it doesn't quite work out. So she was living on borrowed time, but...
Yeah, it took an extra 5 minutes of my time to kill Sorsha when I just screwed up the original plan. I repo into the zone, so I will score 2, but I don't have a model contesting his flag, so that's kind of rough.
Yep, so it's like 4-3 right now.
Yep.
Losing Sorsha at this point isn't a super huge deal to me. I think that Boundless Charge is nice for the extra threat, but I think I've got everything where I need it to be, and I've still got, like almost 5 times the time of you of remaining time on the clock.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is the first time in Brawlmachine I'm actually able to leverage a clock advantage. So the things that I need to do are just make sure that I don't lose on scenario, or not just lose on scenario, but I need to make sure that Ethan doesn't try and like clock throttle me back and forth to get to turn 5 to try and score more points than I do. And the way I'm going to do that is by trying to clear this bottom zone and try and get Karchev in a little bit more aggressive of a position. This is actually, it's not getting him aggressive. This is the first time in the entirety of my Warmachine career, the whole 8 years I've been playing this game, that I decide to activate an inert Warjack.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've done that.
So, Karchev, the reason why I want to do this is that I want to get within stealth range of Scythe because I want to throw some stuff at her. And then the other reason is that I want to contest Ethan's flag, and to do that, I need to get this Rager back up and running. So thankfully, I'm close enough to be able to walk in base contact and get into stealth range of Scythe. And I get him back up, but I think we pause the clock here because we're looking up how to... how to figure out how to get an inert jack back in your battle group.
Yeah, because you thought you had the Sacred Combat action. I was like, no, that's Mark II. I'm pretty sure you just need to spend a focus. And we end up looking it up, and you do it. And I think it's worth noting you allocated 2 to the Juggernaut.
Yep, I did allocate some extra focus to the Juggernaut.
And then this takes me a hot minute because the PDF. If you haven't used the War Room PDF, then you're a lucky person. Because, man, it's just finicky.
It's hard. You type in or you want to find something and it takes you to some awkward page in the middle of nowhere, so you're off the mark by a little bit. It's just really hard to find things. So we figure out that I just need to spend a focus to do things, and I decide to... I make that happen. I think I was trying to throw a spell or something at Scythe.
You tried to spray me.
Yeah, and I ended up missing or something like that.
And when you reactivate an inert jack, it just has to sack its combat action. It can walk.
Yep, so I just do what I need to do and get him into contesting range of the flag. And next up, the Juggernaut goes, and he starts dropping Destors like nobody's business, because now he doesn't have to worry about this stationary garbage.
Yeah, I forgot about Jumpstart. I was I thought the Destors would live, and I just gave you all of them.
I am on 2 camp with Karchev right now, and I didn't need all the focus to get through these Destors. Or no, I guess I did. So
a couple of them toughed.
That's cleared, and all the Destors are dead. So now I'd be scoring 2 at the end of this turn with the flag and the zone. Ethan gets his 1 point from the zone, but not with a flag. So I think I've made it. So Ethan's got a lot to deal with, and not a lot of time to deal with it in.
Yep. So minute to win it, and I'm down. I can't kill Karchev in a minute. That's just not happening. He's got too many boxes. So I measure the Arcanist can get in range to run a contest. I put up Hand of Ice on the Cage Rager. I boost a Wrath of Light into him, do decent damage. And then here's again where I didn't allocate focus.
Yeah, that was the fist shake.
Yeah, so Imperatus goes with his concentrated power, and no, I didn't concentrated power because I have to run. But so he gets 3 attacks at dice -2 thanks to ice, or dice -1, and he ends up actually killing it. Arcanist runs to contest because he was within 16 of the flag, and then I end my turn with 4 seconds, scoring 2.
With 4 seconds left, all I really need to do is try and give Ethan things that will make it so he can't just close the game out easily. So I need to score as many points as I can, deny points where I can, and that one lone mechanic is going to be a really big part of this. It's kind of nice that he's just been hanging out in the trench, just like taking a load off. The Widowmaker Marksman aims, shoots the Arcanist off, so I don't have to deal with that anymore. My Juggernaut decides to just unpack into Scythe and cracks her and turns her into paste. Now Karchev goes up, and I don't know how important this is to do, but I'm like, I'm going to feat and just deal with Imperatus because it means that Ethan just has less things to work with, and maybe that's a bad thing that he has that because I'm making his turns quicker, and I think we're at the bottom of 4 right now, or top of 4, top of 5.
This is top of 4.
4, yeah. So Ethan still has a little bit of time to try and make things work, but you'll notice with my damage rolls that I'm not doing a ton of work to Imperatus. Like my dice just go cold right here, and it does take the entire stack of Karchev to kill Imperatus, but then I forget that Phoenix Protocol is something that activates. And I am not going to be a doofus and make Ethan heal all of his boxes back on his clock, because that would probably just clock you out.
So my turn, 4 seconds. All I'm trying to do, Goreshade goes, Ghost walks, and I run around and contest. That's all I'm trying to do. Brian didn't need to even attack Imperatus. If you had just ran into my zone, you would have scored it. I realized that as soon as Imperatus came out of my zone. Like when you were doing your turn, I was like, well, he just auto wins because he runs to my zone, scores it on my turn.
And then you can't. Then you will never get to that point where you have more control points than me.
Yep, because you'll be scoring 3 to my 1 on my turn, and like, so when you started taking attacks, I got false hope. I'm like, maybe something can happen, but no. Like,
yeah, just not enough time to do what you needed to do.
No, I wasted turn 1 going for Sorsha, and then like, when I didn't allocate and didn't clear my zone turn 2, like that was bad. And then not ghost walking against Sorsha. There was just a lot of mistakes that added up.
So for game 3, my sideboard didn't change at all. I kept everything the same. I felt like in game 2 it worked better, so I'm just sticking with what I've got.
And then for me, for the first ever game 3 of our Brawlmachine on the channel, this is when I realized I had a solo I was missing, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to sideboard him into the list and actually have a ghost sniper for game 3. So that was my switch. So since I lost the last one, I got to go first again. Brian gave me the same side that I've been on the entire day, and I changed my deployment a little bit. Like I got one, the ponies are a little bit more central, and I even have one on the top side. So he's going to be able to be in the circle zone. Goreshade goes up, does his Dauntless, does his Ghost Walk, charges after the Chimera goes up. Ponies run max distance, and then I'm just measuring command. And there with Ghost Walk, I'm up 16 inches up the board, like in that front line. So I'm feeling pretty good. Imperatus runs up with his Ghost Walk, loops around like every game. Arcanist loops over. And then there you can see I actually have a Ghost Sniper, and that's it.
Ethan's got a bit more aggressive this time, so I need to respond to this in a way where I don't give up a whole bunch of stuff, but don't get hurt so much by his feet later. So the gist here is, at least for deployment, everything's kind of still in the same spot. I feel like last game, everything went really well, so I just want to keep things where they are. So now I'm just trying to figure out which one of my spells do I need up first. I think I really need Countercharge right now, so that's what I'm going to intend to put up with
I think you put up Road to War this turn.
Well, Brian right now thinks that countercharge would have been nicer, but maybe I don't know. Maybe I was.
Or no, you ran. It looks like you just ran.
Yeah, it looks like I did just run. So I think that was just about me being aggressive. I think you're being aggressive this turn, and I haven't been really showcasing the survivability of Karchev in this game. So I'm just like, yep, we're just gonna run forward and make sure everyone just goes crazy. So I'm trying to make sure that Sorsha stays alive again because I don't want to lose her to Scythe stuff. So the Rager is in range to be max shield guard from Sorsha and Karchev, so I won't just lose her out of nowhere.
So my turn 2's kind of the same question as before. It's worth noting on the bottom there near the flag, Anastasia is proxying as the Ghost Sniper because we couldn't find a Ghost Sniper. So I Apparition up. I'm within 8 to get out my upkeep. I end up allocating nothing. And this turn, I've been kind of playing cagey with Ghyrrshyld the last couple games, like trying to use the clouds and leverage things that way. But now I'm going to try and be on the offensive, because I'm going to try and leverage my speed and how far I'm up the board to play my feat offensively, because the last couple games, I believe I feated turn 3.
Yeah, it was a little late, and you were using clouds to kind of play more cagey and defensive.
Yep, so now I'm going to feat top of 2. That's my game plan, and I put my cloud down so my Chimera and the pony are in the cloud so they can see through it. I channel my Hand of Ice spell onto the Rager. Or no, the Juggernaut.
I think it's the Juggernaut. No, this is not a Juggernaut. This is a Marauder, isn't it?
Yep, that's the Marauder. It's hard to see behind the extreme Karchev.
Extreme Karchev, yeah. He's a big boy. I think he's
like 12 inches tall.
He's the same size as a Conquest, like height-wise.
Yeah, he's huge.
It's the most beautiful miniature in the universe.
I hope you put a picture of him at the end because he's going to be really pretty. So now the ponies are going. That one is charging the solo on the flag, I believe. Or no, he's charging the jack.
Oh, this is a
attack.
Devastator. There isn't even a Marauder in this list.
Yeah, you have a Marauder.
No, I have a Juggernaut and a Devastator.
So there, I'm crisscrossing. I'm doing an impact attack. First one misses. Second one hits. Now I'm charging here. I believe I'm opting not to impact because I don't want to hit my own dude. So I'm just going max reach with the lance. And then there I'm realizing, oh yeah, command's a thing. So he's just going to be staying up where he is. That one runs. Because I believe they got Ghost Walk to this turn. So there, my charge takes off that solo. So now the only thing over on there that can score the flag is Karchev or Sorsha. Continue here doing my charges. I'm able to take out both Kayazy, and I take a dual attack shot downtown just to try and clear some dudes because they're not going to do anything really to the jacks. So I'm just trying to clear up dudes. And there I'm just repoing back, repoing out of the woods, and then repoing forward to jam with my feet up. So if he wants to clear that zone, he's automatically going to be getting 3 miles stationaried. And then there I'm just positioning behind my cloud, keeping my heavy staff so I'm ready to counterpunch after the feat. And then I'm sitting pretty aggressive with Goreshade sitting on 0, I believe. But I don't think anything can get to him. And their Scythe just runs across the board to hide.
This is not the greatest place for me in the universe. This is, I think, one of the interesting things that can happen in Brawlmachine with these third games is that Ethan's caster is really flexible in terms of what modes he can play in. Like, he can be aggressive or he can be defensive. And I am definitely feeling the aggressive part, right? So the first thing up that I do is I decide to try and unjam some of my jacks in the back here by bulldozing forward the Destors. Sorry, for whatever reason I was blanking on their names. And then I think we punch one of them. I don't end up killing, or I don't maybe not even end up hitting.
I don't think you take any attacks because you don't want to.
Oh, because I didn't want to open up. That's why I didn't do anything. So they just moved up and did whatever. Losing the Widowmaker Marksman was really unfortunate because that was a really good piece for me for scoring the zone. I think it's one of the pieces that helped me win last game, and just being able to put a solo on the flag and not worry about it, because the rest of my solos are really important to me. Like the Grey Lord adjunct. I was gonna say Turnian. I'm like, it's not a Turnian. But the adjunct is one that I don't want to commit to a flag, and Sorsha I don't want to commit to a flag either. So I'm really not in the greatest place to start scoring flags right now. I think over here the what is attacking back there? It's hard to see with
Juggernaut. He got boundless charged.
No, that's the Rager.
Yep,
The Rager got boundless charged and then came in to just go ahead and roast a dude. But stationary is happening for him, so that's as much as he's going to do. I can't let these Destors tear apart the back of my table, but I also can't like just ignore them. So I just have to eat the stationaries and live with that. So the Juggernaut goes up and takes one out as well. So we've taken out 2 of the Destors, and I feel pretty decent about that, at least. And I think Karchev's going to try and get a 3rd one here. I think that's what we're waiting to activate for, or we're trying to shoot a Fissure at him, or an Eruption. Not sure which one. I think I'm fiddling around with the focus right now to see what I'm boosting. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a Eruption so that I can use my melee attack on the guy that I'm engaged with.
Yep.
So I think we opt to boost, and I'm sorry for the angle, but that you can't see my dice, but it is what it is. I think we miss anyways. So I didn't boost the hit. I was trying to save to boost damage.
Are you hit, but you didn't have enough focus to boost damage because you wanted to camp?
Maybe. I think I wanted to keep the focus to use on this guy. Like, somehow boost something. Because at dice -1, yeah, I don't remember. But we go for the swing here with Karchev, and you do tough that one. So this is where I use the focus to buy the attack. Maybe that's what I was camping it for. So no camp on Karchev is fine. I think I'm pretty safe for the most part against things. Like, I'm not worried about Imperatus. But then we also realize that Ethan scores 2 this turn, and I score nothing. And then once I pass over to you, you score again. So this was me just really leaning in on that attrition thing and not recognizing that I was nowhere near being able to deal with the scenario at all.
Yeah, because I was able to snipe out or scalpel out your Kayazy, and those are your primary contest pieces the last couple games. So like when I was able to get a line, luckily like 1 impact attack hit, but like I still had boosted cav charges.
Yep.
But like my main goal was to get the Destors in the zone, kill the Kayazy, and then try to leverage my feet to really push you on the back foot. Because I figured you could get into my zone, but I didn't think you could get to my flag, and I try and do a scenario swing that way.
Yeah, I think maybe if I would have paid more attention to how the Devastator was bulldozing, or maybe untied the Devastator to get him in your zone to contest, it would have been a little bit better, because then I'd be able to just like stick around for maybe one more turn and see what happened. Because I feel like this game I wanted to kind of push my battle group at you, because I don't think you can deal with it all at once, especially after losing a couple Destors, and being that they only really do good stuff on charges. But I think another part of Brawlmachine that we haven't experienced yet is the 3rd game, and everything gets so mechanical after a little while, where you're like, okay, well, this piece goes here and takes care of that, and this thing captures this zone or this flag, that for me, I didn't expect the flexibility of what Goreshade or what Ethan was trying to do with the game, so I just ended up spacing out that I needed to get into the scenario.
Yeah, because those first 2 games I was playing really defensive and really cagey, and then for this 3rd one, with me getting first turn, I was like, I need to leverage this, and I need to just be aggressive.
Be aggressive.
Basically, I was like, I haven't been showing the aggressiveness of the feats because I've been too scared of losing the Destors.
Because you put a lot of points into that unit, so you don't want to give them up right away, but when you can do something like you've done here, it seemed to work out pretty well.
Yeah, it turns out when you have a ghost sniper, you can be a little bit more aggressive and actually play with your full list.
Yep. Overall, though, I thought this was a good game, and at least showcased some of my issues with a game 3, and it's not a problem with the game or anything. It's just I was not on my toes for this one, and I also think that bringing a full battle group list to is this Orbits?
I want to say it's Orbits.
Probably wasn't the greatest idea in the universe either, because then I couldn't really threaten those top zones. But honestly, I only have 3 Warjacks, and then I have 2 units, so it's not the worst.
I mean, Karchev is basically a Warjack, so I'd say you have 4.
Sure, yeah. I think he's more of a battle engine than anything, but that's just me.
He's a little slow for a battle engine.
Yeah. I thought there was a speed 4 battle engine out there. There's isn't
The Sacravolt.
the also the fucking the toilet.
Oh yeah, the toilet bowl.
The siege bowl. Yep.
We don't talk about that.